Hello everyone, welcome back to Life of Clay for another sculpting video. This is Kenji, your sculptor, and today I will be making one of the flying creature in the movie Fantastic Beast, called the Billywig. And before we get started, please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and turn on the notification bell icon to see more of my sculpting videos in the future. And without further ado, come bring the clay on and let's get stung by this Billywig. First, I draw a quick sketch of this creature on my own version. And by the way, all the materials that I will be using in this project are listed in the description box down below this video. Then let's start building its armature, starting with its body by forming a teardrop-shaped aluminum foil which I densely packed together. And for the head, I bend and form this aluminum wire into fish eye hook shape, and I apply epoxy on it. Cover and bulk it up with aluminum foil. Then I insert this 1mm stainless steel wire on its body armature's pointy end for the stinger. Added few epoxy to keep it in place. And let's begin sculpting its head. I just cover it with a thin sheet of clay and start shaping it out. Then I add this rounded piece of clay on top of its head and blending it in, and this will be the base of its wings. The Billywig is a magical insect native to Australia, and its first appearance is in the movie Fantastic Beast and Where to Find Them. It was around half an inch long and of a vivid sapphire blue color. Muggles, wizards, and witches rarely noticed this insect because of their speed and often only spotted it once they had been stung. And anyone stung by a Billywig would suffer giddiness followed by levitation, which is what gave the Billywig its rating of XXX. Then I make small craters on both sides of its head for its eye sockets. And for the eyes, I use these two small pre-baked polymer balls, which I then stick on a needle tool. Then I add a small piece of raw clay on top and roll over this cutter's handle to imprint the diagonal scale-like patterns on it. This creates the ommatidia-like texture on the surface, just like common insect eyes have. And after this, I just cure them using heat gun. Let us now place them into their sockets, cover their rim with strips of clay, blend them in to seal the gap. And after that, we can now add line details around its head. Billywig's wings were attached to the top of its head, rotated extremely fast, spinning the Billywig so that it could fly. And several of these Billywigs escaped Newt's commander's suitcase during his visit to New York in 1926. He managed to recapture some of them, but still, few were left out. Then I cut these small pieces of clay for the bases of the wings, adding some liquid polymer clay on top of the head and attach the pieces, shape and blend them in. Then I add poke holes on them. And after that, I just brush it with alcohol to smooth out and bake it in the oven. Next is sculpting its upper body. I just cover it with a wide sheet of clay and trim off the excess, then start shaping it based on my reference. Next, I add shallow lines on this front side of its body. Then I lay a plastic film over and deepen the lines and smooth out the border of each plate using an explorer tool and a rubber tip tool. Then I add these strips of clay on both sides and blend them in toward the back. This will be the series of edges of its back segmented plates. Then again, I just make shallow lines all the way to the back, aligning them to its front body segments. Then I just shape out each segments, deepening their base next to the other plate to make them look like overlapping at one end. Then shape out each ends of the plates to make them rounder. Then I mark down the location to where legs will be attached and add these cut small pieces of clay as its legs trochanters. Then I add poke holes on them, and I also add a large poke hole atop of its body for the head. Then I add another 2 strips of clay on this top portion of its body for its collar. Overlapping them, and with the help of this cone-shaped sheet of soda can as support for the clay, keeping the inner circumference round while I'm working with them. We can now remove the metal sheet and trim off the excess ends of the clay. And here I'm attaching the head temporarily so I can shape the end of the collars. Just attaching this pre-shaped rounded end and blend them in. And we can now add texture on its plates, using this small dotting tool to create tiny dimple texture on all its back segmented plates. Then adding horizontal fine wavy lines on its frontal plates. And we can now remove its head and put it in the oven to cure. Now let's move on sculpting its stinger, but I need to trim off the excess wire first. For this Billywig stinger, I need a more rigid type of clay, so I use Sculpey Premo Translucent for this part. Just cover the wire with it and shape it out pointy. Then I just add segment details. Then I just brush it with alcohol to smooth out and cure it with heat gun. Let us now proceed in sculpting the remaining lower part of its body. I first apply liquid polymer clay on both cured ends to ensure a better bonding. Then just cover it with this triangular sheet of clay and blend it in. Then I start shaping its segmented plates. I use the same procedures we applied on its upper body, but these remaining segments becomes gradually narrower and smaller as they get near to the stinger. And this time, I equip this stainless steel wire in marking down and aligning the segments, and I find it easier. Then, using this wooden knife to deepen the groove, shape out the ends of each plate and add texture. And after that, we can now put it in the oven for the final curing. And for the legs, I use this 0.3mm stainless steel wire and cover them with these very thin strips of clay. Then I just shape them out as slender as possible and add segment details. Then I prepare the metatarsus or the foot and claw separately using a tiny trapezoid-shaped piece of clay and attaching two small conical-shaped spines on its wider end. Then just attach it on the tip of this leg and blend it in. And after that, I just curve down the claws. And because I love details, I decided to add hairs on them, and so I add poke holes underneath the patella. And now that the legs are done, let's put them in the oven to cure. And let us now paint it. As usual, I'm gonna prime it first with gray gesso. Then painting it with blue acrylic paint. Then painting the head with light blue and electric blue mica powder. Painting the bases of the wings with orange brown. Next, painting its back segmented plates with electric blue, purple, and dark green mica powder. Now painting its front segmented plates with black and dark green mica powder. Then I apply a thin layer of green metallic glitter dust. Look at those sparkling, shimmering, and glittering dust of greens. So magical, aren't they? Next, painting the stinger with orange brown and glazed it with vermilion. And I also paint the tip of the stinger with black. And lastly, painting the legs with black and dark green mica powder. And after this, we will add hairs to these legs. I use black synthetic fiber for the hairs and clear resin as adhesive. Then I just plant them one by one into these poke holes we've added earlier. Hair planting is done, and now just set them aside to cure. And let us now assemble it. I use resin as adhesive. First, I'm gonna attach this proboscis in its mouth. This is just a pointed piece of resin, by the way. Next, attaching its wings. And maybe you're wondering where the process in making these wings is. I actually decided to make a separate tutorial for them to shorten up this Billywig video and make it more enjoyable to watch. I'm gonna upload it next to this video, so stay tuned for it, guys, okay? Next, attaching its legs. And finally, attaching its head. and we can now seal it with gloss water-based varnish. And lastly, finishing its eyes and the stinger with clear resin. And that's it, our Billywig sculpture is finally done. I hope you like it and enjoy the entire process, and if you did, please give this video a like, leave your comments, and share this video to all our dear friends out there. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell icon. And also follow me in my other social media accounts to see more sculpting videos and updates in the future, okay? Thank you for watching, see you again next time, and wherever you are guys, have a great day and evening everyone. Bye!